Well, morning folks. It's a little bit chilly. I think the temperature when I set out was about 10 degrees, so it's not too bad. Sunny. It's acceptable motorcycling conditions for me at least. And I'm going for a little casual adventure. I've set the sat-nav to curvy roads, so I'm not quite sure where it will take me. It's not going to take me anywhere I haven't been before, because this is a local run. But it should hopefully take me down some slightly more interesting roads. We'll clear that. So I'm obviously out on the Himalayan, which has got very little in the way of weather protection, so I've got quite a lot of layers on, as you could probably imagine. So I'm feeling a bit bundled up, but I'm not feeling cold, so no complaints there. The Himalayan has a very interesting little feature in that it has a temperature gauge which is situated in a position where it's only really accurate when the bike's not running. So as soon as you actually start running, it starts to pick up engine heat, and they actually admit to this in the manual and say that it could be expected to be out by anything up to 5 degrees. So at the moment it's telling me it's 13 degrees Celsius. So I'm guessing we're still probably around about the 9 or 10. So this is me coming into the village of Lim, which is kind of the next village over from where I live, and it's somewhere I go to quite regularly. It sits on the Bridgewater Canal and has some really nice walks and scenic views. So definitely a good destination. If I've only got a really short time, or I'm actually just kind of looking for a bit more of a wander around than a ride, this is somewhere I come. So quite often in the summer, not so much in the winter. It's not quite so much fun wandering around in the winter. So today I'm heading for the National Trust Dunham Massey Park. Not actually going to go in. I have a plan to go and find a spot nearby where I think I can get some good photos and some good video, but we'll see how that works out. And for the moment I'm just going to focus on the ride and see where my friend Garmin takes me today, and it looks like the first choice is left. So this can actually be quite a nice road, even though it's only a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's got some quite tight bends. Unfortunately, getting stuck behind a bus does tend to spoil the experience just a little bit. But it's just part and parcel of riding on urban roads. Finally managed to get the bike through its first service, which is terrible to admit. It took me, I don't know, between 2 and 3 months. I haven't worked out exactly, to get the initial 300 miles done. Actually, that's not quite true. It sat in the garage for a couple of weeks because the panniers were still on backlog, on back order, and I couldn't see any point putting the bike in for its service and then having to put it back in again to get the panniers. So it's got the panniers on now, and it's all serviced, so in theory I can ride it however I want, it now being pretty much running. Royal Enfield do have a fairly specific running in regime for these bikes, which to be honest I looked at and realised just wasn't going to be practical for UK roads. You really just can't ride everywhere at 30 and 40 miles an hour. But I've been quite sensible with it during the initial 300 miles. So hopefully I can stop worrying about that and just enjoy riding on those days when I'm not stuck behind a bus. And of course, if I had my RT, I'd have been past him there. But that's the other thing you get used to riding a bike which has a bit less power. A bit more relaxed, a bit more laid back. You know you're not going to be able to overtake unless there's quite a significant opportunity, which I think this will count as. Okay, a bit up above the speed limit there. But we got past him. Woohoo! Actually overtook somebody. That doesn't happen very often. Now I can enjoy these bends. As I think I said previously, I can have a lot more fun on this than I can on my RT, because it's obviously not as capable a bike. Its limits are much closer to what's achievable on UK roads inside UK speed limits. So it's one of the reasons why I got the bike, and it's one of the reasons why I prefer to ride this on the weekend rather than the R1200 RT, which I commute on during the week. Yeah, well, this is a slightly more interesting road. If I've been down this one before, which I'm sure I will have, I don't remember where it goes. Oh yes, I'm liking these bends. Just need to watch out for opposing traffic, I think. You need to remember the brakes on this are not like on the RT. You do have to plan ahead a bit, so I need to keep the speed down. And here we are, Dunham Massey, the village rather than the park, I think. This is Dunham Massey Park on my left. I think the entrance should be coming up on my left shortly. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not actually going to go into the park, although I am a National Trust member, so I can go in. But I'm going to take a slightly different route around the edge of the park. It's worth mentioning that if you want to visit Dunham Massey, you can get into the grounds free of charge. You have to pay for parking if you're not a National Trust member, and you have to pay if you want to go around the house or around the formal gardens. But the park itself, which is quite a large area, it's got deer, a nice old water wheel, a lot of other interesting features. It's definitely worth a visit. Right, I'm not sure if this is the road that I was looking for. I think it probably is. And it says I'm not supposed to go down it. Let's see if there's another left along here that I can take to get me to where I want to go. Here we go, we'll give Meadow Lane a try. Looks like perfect territory for a bike like this. And it looks like it's been closed off at the end. That's a shame. It looks like I'm not going to get to go where I had wanted to go. That's a shame. Well, I think we'll pull into Dunham Massey and park up there. One of the disadvantages with the National Trust is that they're a bit touchy. Well, that's probably unfair. They're quite strict on what you can and can't do from a photography perspective. They obviously don't want people being able to take advantage of their environments. So I think I'll park here for a minute or two while I work out what I'm going to do next. So it hadn't originally been my intention to go for a walk, but given that I've not been able to park where I wanted to, I think I'm going to take a little bit of a stroll, see if I can get to the place that I wanted to get to on the bike, and maybe just take a few pictures there, and then head back. So it gives a little bit more purpose to my casual outing. So yeah, let's see how I get on with that. So I'm just stepping outside of the bounds of Dunham Massey Park now. It's quite possible that they also own these particular fields around me. But this is quite an interesting little path that I've discovered before, and it leads down to where I had hoped to get to on the bike. There's a kind of 19th century mill which has been converted, and it's on a body of water, a river, and it's quite a scenic little location. But I particularly like this path. I'd love to ride the Himalayan down this, but obviously that's not really an option I'm going to get. But it's certainly very scenic. It's nice to get off the bike sometimes and just go for a little bit of a stroll, even if I do have to be a little bit careful because there's not a lot of grip on the bottom of these motorcycle boots. So when the going gets a bit muddy, definitely got the wrong tyres on. So this is where I was heading for, and rather disappointingly, it's not as I remembered. The wooden structure here with the gates looks like it's enclosing an electricity substation, but it used to be possible to get past that point and further along beside the river, and there was quite a good view from there, and I was hoping I would be able to fly the drone up and get a good overhead view. Obviously there was once upon a time a road bridge across here which is long gone and been replaced by this footbridge, but if I walk out onto it and give a little look round to the left, you can get an idea of what I was hoping to be able to film, but I'm not going to be able to get up there, which is a bit of a shame. And I can't see anywhere that I can fly the drone from, because obviously I have to be more than 50 meters away from any buildings. So I would have needed to get up the river a little way. But it doesn't currently look like there's an available path that will allow me to do that. So yeah, that's a little bit of a shame, a little bit of a disappointment. But that's all part of adventuring, isn't it? We find what's there, maybe not always what we had intended it to be. But obviously the weir that you're looking at would originally have had the water diverted to power the mill, which is over to my left. Obviously that's all now residential properties, and I think some office buildings in the brick building behind. But another bit of history. I do like it when we have a bit of history. So yeah, should give you a look downstream. Not an awful lot to see. If I'd continued across the bridge, there's a small village with a very nice inn called the Swan with Two Nicks. I honestly for a while thought that was a spelling mistake and it was the Swan with Two Necks, but no, it's the Swan with Two Nicks. I'm not entirely sure of the parlance behind it, but it's a proper inn in that it has rooms and so on, and I've stayed there with my better half. So this obviously is where the water would originally have flown into the mill and down to the water wheels, which would have powered all of the mechanical parts in the mill building. And as we can see, if we look over here, there's not an awful lot left, quite overgrown. Still an interesting piece of history. I'm back at the bike. I've got my gear back on. It's being a bit warm at this point. The number of layers that are required to ride the bike aren't quite the same as the number of layers required to have a good brisk walk. So right, let's get ready to go. Having the panniers on, it certainly makes it a little bit more tricky getting on and off the bike, but oh, that's just me moaning really. Let's see if we can find the way out. It's over there somewhere. Certainly a fair bit of wind noise compared to obviously riding the RT with its big screen. Don't know how much of it you're actually able to pick up on the audio. Hopefully it's not causing any problems. So I'm going to go left here. That's going to take me back the way I came, which is fine because there were some quite nice twisted little roads there. I'm pretty sure this is not the way I came. It certainly feels different. Might be the same, but I'm certainly enjoying it. Some nice twisted little roads. You need to keep an eye on the vanishing point and looking out for oncoming traffic. So I couldn't go too fast here even if I wanted to. It's really not that kind of road. Whoa! Definitely don't want to meet that going round a bend. Oh yeah, we're having fun now. I need to remember this has semi-knobbly tyres on it. And it is not going to grip like my road bike, so I must not get carried away. Certainly was enjoying those bends though. Just perfect for a slower speed bike like this. Yes, this road's so much more fun when you're not stuck behind a bus. And back into Lymm, which is pretty much where I started out. So I've thoroughly enjoyed myself this morning. Not a long ride by any stretch of the imagination, but punctuated it with a good bit of exercise, and it got me out of the house for a couple of hours, and that's exactly what a casual adventure should be about. I can now go back and get on with some of the chores and jobs that I need to do, with today being a Saturday. So thanks for the company, and I'll look forward to catching you next time.